Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us out there in Facebook, YouTube, Twitter land. We appreciate it. We are here with Dean from Hoplark. Dean, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Yourself?
Good. Doing excellent. Got some drinks here.
We do.
Ready to chill and have some conversation. If you are watching us live, if you have a question for us or for Dean, feel free to post it, and we'll answer your questions. When we take a break, we're going to get rocking on recording now, and we'll be back to chat with you soon. Dean, you ready for this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and...
What's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are broadcasting for the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week, we're talking with Hoplark. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Brian Hewitt.
Hey, Tim. Joining us today, we have Dean Eberhardt, one of the co-founders of Hoplark. We're going to talk about hops and tea together again for the first time. And, of course, how they came up with this multiple award-winning concept. Dean, thanks for joining us.
Excited to be here, guys.
Thank you. You know, one thing we discussed when we were going over this, because we know kind of the story, we'll dive into it a little bit later about how Hoplark got started. But do you still drink beer, Dean, or are you all about the teas and waters now?
No, 100% I still drink beer. My view on the whole thing, it came out of me taking some time off of drinking. I take quite a bit of time off, a couple times a year, month or two at a time. But my view is everyone's riding their own race with regards to that. And we don't really want to be super judgy about it. So we try and make products that can both, if someone's looking for a beer replacement for a sobriety occasion, that's awesome. And we have a ton of folks that use our product that way. And if someone's just looking for something in the middle of the day that tastes awesome, we're okay with that. And if they have a beer at night, we're not going to be judgy about it. So,
Brian, I think you've actually done that at work. You've cracked a little hop water.
I did. Yeah, actually. Yeah. So a while back, we live streamed a non-alcoholic segment, and I opened up a hop water in the middle of the workday, and I felt like I was being naughty, but nothing wrong with it at all. Kind of refreshing.
Brian.
Yeah, exactly.
That's, Dean, a question we got when we talked about non-alcoholic beverages from a lot of our followers was, why are beer guys talking NA beers or NA beverages? But our non-alcoholic beer shows always do really well. People are very interested in non-alcoholic beverages, so it's cool to talk about them, kind of spread that word, because we dabble, Dean, in the NA scene. So a lot of rhyming there. That's we call it my doctor's orders segment. My doctor told me to take it easy on the alcohol. I didn't have to quit, but he said take it easy. So having NA beverages out there that still give you a craft beverage experience is nice. So
for sure. Well, it's a hugely growing market. And I think there's just a lot of opportunity for, we see the trend toward health as much as we see a trend towards sobriety. And so, we think we can hit both occasions for sure. So.
Absolutely. We were talking on Twitter the other day, and Greg Tish, morning DJ at WVFT. I'm going to say the station wrong, but in our Tallahassee market.
Yes.
But he's been going vegetarian and laying off alcohol. And
wow,
one of the people on Twitter mentioned, they're like, hey, I've tried these. They're great. And it was a hop tea, one of your hop teas.
Are you saying he's given up natter days? Because I have a hard time believing it. Oh, no.
Yeah. So it's not, I guess the point I'm making here, Dean, which I'm sure you know all too well, is it's not one small segment that's drinking these. There's a broad appeal.
For sure. Yeah. It's all over the board. And, we just got word that, for the first 3 months of the year, we were the third best selling tea in Whole Foods. We're nationwide with Whole Foods. And that's a massive result because we launched right before the pandemic and we haven't been able to do all the demos or anything that you would normally do. And so we're super, super proud of that. And it just shows, I think, like you said, it shows the mass appeal because we haven't been able to market it that much. People are just buying it, which is really fun.
That's awesome. Good stuff.
I like how much development there is in the whole non-alcoholic scene because it went from being almost nothing, like Stone Age non-alcoholic drinks that were O'Doul's, and that was it. And there's so much development.
Sharps.
It's so much, like there's new yeasts being used. There's new methods being used in making non-alcoholic. Of course, this is a whole different process, and it's non-alcoholic, but it's almost running kind of parallel, on its own track from that. But there's a lot of innovation happening in the segment, which makes it really interesting.
Yeah.
So,
Dean, one thing we love to do is to share our great ideas with our guests. So we think maybe you should do a hop tea called O'Doul's, but like spell it DOOL''S. Just, the craft brewers do it all the time.
OHDOL duels. Yeah.
Yeah. We did, we got our first cease and desist letter last week.
Okay.
Because we, from Electronic Arts of all things, because we had did a Simcoe City hop water.
Simcoe
and they didn't appreciate that, and so we're very sorry about that.
Of course
we had fun with it anyway.
Well, I mean, you see where the confusion could come in between your Simcoe City and their video game, right?
It's very confusing.
Right.
Exactly.
For sure.
City building game, or am I drinking? I don't know what's going on.
No one knows.
So confused. Well, Tim, I think we should get into the beers of the week.
Now it's time for our beers of the week. Brought to you by The Nest, craft beer and barbecue in downtown Kennesaw, Georgia. TheNestKennesaw.com.
Well, Brian, in an amazing change of pace, our beers of the week are not beers.
Oh,
yes. And we want to thank The Nest for sponsoring this segment, one of our great sponsors. Beer and barbecue, big patio, huge fireplace, music, trivia, everything you could want in a hangout spot right in Kennesaw, Georgia.
And barbecue.
Right. So if you're in the area, didn't I say barbecue?
I don't know, but I'm just emphasizing
just make
barbecue.
Sure, barbecue and beer and beer and barbecue.
Yeah.
So if you're in the area, stop by. If you're not in the area, flights are opening up again. Come over, visit us. We'll grab a beer with you at the Nest if you come into town.
I think they have a strip where you can land right behind the Nest.
Yeah, you can. But on tap for this week, we're drinking it right now. We have a Hoplark hop water with Mosaic. We also have on deck their hop tea, the green tea one with Mosaic, the Citra Bomb one, and the calm one with chamomile, Brian.
I feel calmer already.
We can all use calming down a little bit. It's good for you. It's good for you. But yeah, so that is on deck for this week. We did a little pregame. We had a beer. We had some Dissolver Kolsch there. Thank you for existing, I believe that's called.
I believe so.
So good stuff. Dissolver's cool, people. So now we're going to do hop teas and waters. Have a good time with it.
Sounds good.
Well, Brian, how about telling us what's happening in the news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
Well, here's some fun news. Queen Elizabeth is selling beer, believe it or not. I don't think she's personally selling it, but she has approved its sale. And you're probably thinking what I was. It's just some brewery was just making beers with ingredients from the Royal Gardens or something, and that's it. And that is true, but the British royal family is not actually involved with the process of making it, but it is for sale in the Royal Collection website and in the Sandringham Palace gift shop. I'm not sure I'm saying it, probably Sandringham. Probably is the way to say it. I don't know. Though it must be sold out online because I went looking for it to see if I could, what it would cost to buy it and have it shipped over here. They're not anywhere, but they do have gin on there. They have a number of different things that they actually.
I saw they were doing a few craft beverages. Yeah.
So at the moment, there are two beers, an English Best Bitter and a Golden IPA. The beers are brewed by Barsham Brewery, and if you can find them, they will set you back about $5.50 a bottle. I think that's in US dollars. The pound's probably a little lower. So
pound sterling there, right? Dean, there's another great idea, no charge, collaboration with the Queen. So
brilliant. I mean, for sure.
Get some herbs from the
Royal Gardens. Yeah, get it on the Royal website. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
My brain is on fire this week, Brian.
It clearly is. Yeah, clearly is. So sad news this week. Devil's Backbone founder Steve Crandall has passed away. In addition to founding the brewery, he was also a member of the Brewers Association's board of directors from 2015 until the sale of Devil's Backbone in 2016. He also founded a home building company. As the Home Brewers Association said on their website, Steve was a builder. He was just 64.
64 or something. And, I got to throw this out here because we're drinking teas and waters, but this is American Craft Beer Week.
It is. That's true.
So go out, celebrate, support your local brewery, have you an American beer, maybe buffer it with a little hop water. Dean, we like to do that. We slow the roll a little bit by having an NA beverage in between. We'll have a beer, We'll have an NA beverage, then another beer. Kind of slows the roll a little
A
bit.
pacer tea, if you will.
It's a good time. A pacer. Yeah. Well, you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We do need to take a break, but we'll be back very soon to talk with Dean from Hoplark. Cool. Greg Tish. See, I did have it, Tish. All right.
He's all NA now.
Greg was the one I was just talking about, the morning DJ at our Tallahassee station.
And you did have it. I thought you did.
Go on and throw Tish's little comment up there. So all NA now, right?
No natter days.
Yeah, no natter days. Now, Tish, didn't you just get a tattoo on your arm of your little local brewery? Yeah. We'll see if he's still there. I think he left the comments a few minutes ago, but yeah, Greg's been clean living. He's been clean living there. So,
well, good for him. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to have some positive health benefits, I would think.
Yeah.
To not
Right.
have any of that. Your liver doesn't have to do that work. It's like
Doesn't.
giving your liver a permanent vacation.
give it a break there.
Yeah.
Dean, you're in Colorado.
Yeah, we're in Boulder.
Like in Boulder. Cool. A little crafty out there.
It is
a little crafty.
Quite crafty.
Cool.
Right.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what then. Let's roll right back into it. Brian, you want to grab a hop tea? You're going to be ready for a tea?
Yeah, I'll be
You got
ready.
one, Nate?
Yeah. Keep her rolling.
Do you have a preference?
Well, Brian said chamomile bothers him, so let's go.
I do. We can crack open the chamomile.
For the rest of the show?
Let's try chamomile then.
Let's
I don't think
give it
we've
a shot.
tried
If-
that because of Brian's sensitivities.
He is a sensitive man.
I am a very sensitive fella. I will taste it and see. It's historically the tea has given me a headache.
Right.
It's been a long time since I've had any. So most people get relaxed. I get headachy.
Can
You
you
know.
ask Dean if the hop water is in distribution at Whole Foods?
Dean, did you hear that question from Nate by chance?
I didn't.
Is your hop water in distribution at Whole Foods?
We are hoping for it to be very soon, let's say, but I can't speak to that right
There you
now.
go. Okay.
So
That's
actually
a
or
good
not,
question.
they're like if it's anything pre-launch, you can't talk about it. So they're closed lipped.
Can I buy it online directly from them?
Yes, I
Yep.
did
Yes,
see it on the
it
website.
is on the
It's
website,
on the website. Chad Pilbeam, another beer radio guy. What's on Tap Radio out of Houston, Texas. James and Chad, good guys. I got to meet them when I went to GABF, and gosh, I think that was 2016 when I was out there.
It has been a little while. Oh yeah, you were out there, and I was in Malaysia.
Malaysia?
Yeah. I went to a beer festival in
Good
Malaysia.
guys. Good guys. Cool. All right. Dean, do you sell in, I guess I could ask this on the show, but do you sell in like bottle shops?
Some, we've
Okay.
we've mostly gone food distribution thus far, and it got
Yeah.
us like really rapid nationwide. But we're working on building out a wholesale distributor network.
Okay, cool.
So
Good
it
deal.
will be soon. But a lot of bottle shops will buy directly from our website on our wholesale site, and we just ship to them. If
Okay.
it's not beer, we can actually ship direct. So.
No, Mike Nate is a beer manager, beer buyer for a store.
Hey, quick question for you, Dean. Do you guys have a minimum case order for your wholesale?
Yes, and I don't know it.
Okay, that's fine.
Probably 3. It's pretty small.
Okay, no, that's great. Yeah, because that's something that I would love to carry in my shop.
Oh yeah, appreciate that, man.
Cool. There we go.
Doing business and doing shows.
Solving
Yeah.
the world's problems here. All right,
There we
guys,
go.
let's get back on it.
Yeah.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What in tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand. So if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to Hoplark.
Dean, we're going to kind of start at the beginning here and ask you, how did Hoplark get started?
Yeah, I mean, So Andrew, my good friend, and I, we were homebrewers. We were not very good at it, let's say. I mean, we
Okay. All right.
tried to make a couple beers. We had busy lives with kids and stuff, and but we knew the science of it. And I just took a month off of drinking. Was looking to get a little healthier. Took Andrew to a brewery because I wanted to show off a local double IPA, and I grabbed it before he drank it and smelled it, and was like, why can't I experience this right now? And it was just this like, as the aroma hit me, I imagined replacing the malt in beer with tea. And the thought was, malt has all this variety, pale and darker roast, and similar amount of variety. And so in our mind, it was just going to work. And so we ran back to my house. We had some hops on hand. We had some tea on hand. We threw something together and tried it the next morning. And it was terrible.
All right.
I wonder how this was going to turn out.
Version 1, that happens sometimes.
It was terrible.
Right.
It was not terrible enough to stop. There was like a glimmer of a hint of maybe something there. And so we stuck it out and spent, it was literally 18 months in my garage figuring out how to make it. And once we did, we had a pretty cool little ability to put hop flavor in without a bunch of the bitterness. And we ended up with something that we thought was really good.
So what was that initial tea and hop combination that you first tried? I'm curious what that was, because I imagine if you're were you homebrewing a lot? And what did you have, fresh hops or were they stale hops or?
Yeah, so that was part of the whole learning curve, was just how, homebrew shops, a big part of how they make money is they buy hops in bulk and then they parse them down. And listen, there's some great homebrew shops out there and a lot of them do it right. But sometimes maybe when they take it from a pound down to an ounce, it gets oxidized and it gets stale and it's not. So we weren't starting with the best raw ingredients. And we have, now we have this big hop contract with various guys. It is magical how different our raw material access is today relative to, day zero. So it's been good. And the tea, it was, in our mind, black tea was always the closest to beer. So we're like, let's riff on black tea. In fact, our first day at the farmer's market, we had 3 black teas and 1 green tea. And when we saw the customers going like, do I get the black tea or the green tea? We're like, we're not doing this right. So we created more teas.
Yeah. Now, were you a big tea drinker before doing
Hoplark? I was a huge craft beer guy. I had a hookup. I remember back in the day, I had a hookup with somebody in a bottle shop in California that would send me some Pliny, probably on the reg in Chicago at the time.
You go.
And then I had someone up in Vermont getting me some Heady Topper, and I was like, I felt I was like living the dream of a craft beer drinker before it really hit. And so I've always been kind of a flavor nut. But the tea side was relatively new. I'll admit, like, I thought of the idea without a ton of knowledge. And then I did a deep dive into history and origin. And it's a really fascinating, raw material for sure.
Well, that's what I dabbled in tea for a little while. I kind of landed on coffee. I'm much more a coffee guy, but there's a huge variety in tea, just like there is with beer or, coffee. There's a variety of flavors, but I know you do your white, your green, your black. There's smoked tea, Brian.
Oh,
Lapsang Souchong, I believe it's called. I'm probably not saying it correctly, but
I've had it. I don't exactly know how to say it either, but it's intense. Some of them are really intense.
Yeah. And there's
yeah,
teas that can get like insanely expensive.
Smoked hop tea. I'm fixating on that, the Schlenker tea. But yeah. They have interesting, like, small. I've seen the teas when I'm intrigued by tea.
Little pucks.
Yeah. And I from the very beginning, like my earliest days, I've always been coffee. I've dabbled in tea because like I kind of like the concept and want to like it, but it's always just I come back to coffee. So I don't know a lot about it.
Have you ever used like a really unique tea and you got something you thought, hey, this is really cool, but it's not necessarily commercially viable?
I have an opposite experience. We tried rooibos, which is and it was fully disgusting. It was like nothing. It was like the combination somehow just clashed more, and we tasted it, we're just like, this is, and it was unexpected because rooibos is good. I mean, rooibos has sweetness to it. Like it's we get
It's
a
fruity,
request,
right?
It's pretty fruity. Yeah, we get requests for it quite a bit. But nothing that wasn't scalable. I mean, so the pucks, those are pu'er is
that's what I was
type of
thinking
tea,
of. Yeah,
and it's like a aged kind of semi-fermented actually tea, which I've wanted to play around with. It's really expensive. They have less expensive versions, but the scale we're operating at right now, it's harder to use a puck. Let's say it doesn't scale that well,
right?
But it's something that we've thought about for sure.
I've seen with those pu'er pucks, they actually do some that are meant as like art, like collectors. They'll do little plaques or little pucks, and they're not meant to be consumed. They press it in almost like a brick, and it's meant to be more displayed.
What I thought was fascinating, and I know that this wouldn't probably translate very well to what you're doing with the hop teas, but the blooming teas, they had a whole I forget what the chain, one of the chains had them where you would stick them in water and they'd be all rolled up, and then it would open up as blossoms, and sometimes there'd be a chain of different teas. I drank it, and I'll be honest with you, it was a little bit like drinking yard clippings, but they
I think it's actually
really cool.
Flowers. I mean, I think it's it opens up and look.
It did not, it was astringent and not delicious.
Okay. Well, see if you you guys will appreciate this. I mean, when we made the green tea, like the grassiness is a component of tea, and it's a component I don't really like that much either, to be honest. And so when we made the green tea, we were getting a lot of layered effects of the mosaic with some grassiness and the green tea, and so we had to dial down really far on the grassy level of the green tea to get the skew to work. So I agree with you. I think that there's components there that, that it wasn't just like we, bought some green tea off the shelf and grabbed some hops and threw them together and hoped. Like I can send you pictures of, 50 teas in a row on my kitchen counter, and then we parsed it down and then matched it with another, 10 different hops, playing around with it to get some of those initial skews. We're a little more.
You did your homework.
Yeah, you got to do it. The cupping there.
Yeah, so. I'm surprised that you went immediate to not surprised you went to black tea immediately, but I would think that I would almost go to, especially thinking darker beers. Was it mate? Is that the coffee replacement type of tea that people use?
I don't know.
Is that tea?
If they call it a coffee replacement, those people have never tasted coffee.
I thought the same thing. I also tried it.
It's energizing is a thing. It's got a ton of caffeine in it as well.
Okay. So that's where the replacement.
I was going to say black tea also has a fair amount of caffeine in it. I guess it depends on how you brew it, how much it delivers. But I was thinking, it's like, you could have a coffee stout version of hop tea, maybe with a mate or something.
That pile of smoldering mulch outside of the studio? I'd rather drink that than yerba mate.
I was not won over by mate. I thought that might be the thing that would do it for me.
Have you tried brewing with that, Dean? Have you tried?
Yeah, we had one at the farmer's market back in the day. Okay, and all right. It was pretty popular. My issue was I would drink like this much of it and I'd be wired up for the rest of the day. It was so energizing.
Okay. Oh, the 5-hour energy thing where you make them in tiny little bottles and sell them as energy hop teas.
Look at that.
Right?
Look at that. Absolutely.
Perfect. Terrible idea from the beer guys.
It is. Yes. Yeah. So you're okay. We've got a little bit. Nate tells us we don't have a lot of time here, so we probably don't want to dive in to a new topic. Dean will ask one. What's your favorite one of your brews to drink?
Oh, so, I would say Citra Bomb for sure. I mean, that was always kind of my vision of like a really intense Citra flavor for the core stuff, and then like almost all of the limited edition stuff we do is right in line with kind of where the team at the brewery is like, what do we want to drink right now? So yeah, there's a lot of goodness out there, but on the core stuff, I'd say Citra Bomb.
Good deal. All right. Well, we do need to take a break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we'll be back very soon with more from Dean at Hoplark.
I was thinking matcha also was another one I was going to bring up, which
I
is
like
that
matcha.
powdered green
It's
tea.
green
stuff.
Yeah, green tea.
I think it's
Yeah.
kind of neat. I'm undecided as to whether I like it, but maybe with hops it would be.
Do you mean
a winner?
Do you remember the sour ginger green matcha brew at Six Bridges at their anniversary?
Sour green matcha brew
With ginger.
Ginger. I don't recall off the top of my head, but
it was
all
good.
the stuff.
I was a big fan
at
of
that
one.
anniversary. I liked a lot of especially the ones in the back section with the special beers. They have like a pancake one, or like a Belgian one.
They did.
They were all really good.
Pancake.
So if it was one of
yeah.
those, I definitely enjoyed it.
Yep. You know, not just non-alcoholic, but even the low alcohol stuff, the Pilsners and that, Dean, they're cool again, man.
They're
less,
way cool again. Yeah,
less alcohol
lighter.
is cool again.
Mm-hmm.
The drinking beverages are
Drinking
cool again.
beverages, yeah.
The ones you can have in
absolutely.
quantity. The ones that don't put you down after an 8-ounce pour of them.
Exactly. Absolutely. Well, guys, let's get right back into this. Let's
Did we check?
we going into 3?
Yeah. Did we
What,
check
Brian?
Did we check the comments? Make sure that
We did.
No.
There we get a notice there. No
Okay.
no
All right,
freshies.
Cool.
No freshies.
No freshies. All right. No whammies either.
Do we need another hop tea? No,
Yeah.
Mike, Nate, slide on over there and get us
Get
another
that-
one, man.
What was it? The Citra Bomb is the one
The
he said he
Citra
liked.
Bomb.
I don't think I've tried that one yet. The chamomile does. I feel pressure in my head when I drink it, so I'm tasted pretty good.
Even
I've
now?
I've never heard that before. That's unreal.
I think
Yeah.
I've got a weird thing with that. It's not a headache, but I get like immediate like sensation of pressure.
Yes.
And so I just took a couple sips for flavor, and I'm like,
Mhm.
do you want the remainder of that?
Yeah, I like it. I think this may be one of my favorites.
Duh.
I
I
get a
just
really-
have to be.
See, like I
wary
said,
of
I've
that.
dabbled with teas. I like herbal
Yeah.
teas. I like the rooibos. Yerba mate is garbage. It should just be banned.
Is that what it's called? Yerba
Yerba mate or something?
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it even comes like they've got those special cups where you drink off the bottom because for some reason they think the proper way to drink it is to leave the yard trimmings floating in it. So, gosh, those people.
How about kava tea? Have you ever had
I have
that?
not had kava tea.
That's
That's supposed to chill you out. And make
that's
you
not
sleep,
to
right?
that's not meant to taste good. That's meant to relax you, and it is effective, but it tastes horrible. I'll be honest with
Okay.
you. It tastes
All right.
horrible.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I've had more teas than I thought I had. Now that
Maybe
we're
do a
talking
Delta
about it.
8 tea, huh?
I'll t-
Yeah. He doesn't have to mess with Delta 8. He's in Colorado.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is non-alcoholic. If you wanted to throw that in there, I
We'll
think
talk
he's
about that.
perfectly.
Yeah, I'm
capable of
curious
doing
to
that.
see if that's been dabbled. When I was out in Denver for GABF, I think it was 2016 was the first time I went to a legal weed state. And so just seeing people out there and just the smell in the air walking downtown Denver, especially during a huge beer festival like that, I'm just like, this is crazy. I wanted to go into a dispensary. They closed fairly early, most of them. I was kind of surprised at that.
At a certain point, they can't still operate, Tim. You know.
Well,
You know
they're
what I
probably
mean.
they're like, dude, 6 o'clock. I need a nap, man. I need some Doritos and a nap. So, yeah. All right. Here we go.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Cannonball coming.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, KNUJ 860 AM and 97.3 FM in New Ulm, Minnesota. Catch Beer Guys Radio on KNUJ every Saturday at 4 a.m. and at 8 p.m. Now let's get back to Hoplark.
I think the 8 p.m. would work better for me. I'm not sure if a 4 a.m.
I
Set your alarm, New Ulm, and get up with Beer Guys Radio.
used to be a very
Yeah.
late night owl, and
Could have been, huh?
yeah, I'd catch it before I
Your
go to
bedtime
bed.
story?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Dean, Hoplark Hop Teas, tasty stuff. We're drinking. I think we moved on to the Citra Bomb. I'm still sipping the chamomile, so I'll get there. But we've got a couple going in here. But how much can you tell us about your process? Like, how do you brew your teas, and how do you marry the tea and the hops together?
Well, I'll tell you the tea brewing is not that crazy advanced. It's basically like we took the 8-ounce cup that you would make tea in your kitchen and scaled that up to I think like 2,000 gallons at this point. So we just
Okay.
have a big kettle. We use these big stainless steel baskets to hold the tea. So it's just like a tea bag with a couple of slight modifications, nothing too intense there. And it's worked, which has been good. I will say the thing that we figured out, we use, if you came into our brewery, it looks like a beer brewery. I mean, we have bright tanks, we have unit tanks, we have all this stuff. And a lot of that is because we built our process off of homebrew equipment that was just scaled down versions of what larger breweries are doing, and that's worked really well. I mean, we didn't know that it was going to scale that great, but it has. I mean, I still have the original in my garage. I still have the original 12-gallon tank that we taught ourselves how to make it on
the brew house. Yep, gotcha.
The original one, and now it's quite different from that. So excited that worked. Yeah, it's a lot like brewers dry hopping beer in a lot of respects, and our innovation, like how stuff is just running panels of different flavors. So we'll try a bunch of teas, we'll try a bunch of hops, we'll see what we like. It's pretty straightforward. So yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot of nuance to it, a lot of things we've learned over the years, but at its core, like the ingredients, there's relative simplicity, I would say.
So I know with hops, when you scale up, that you have to change your recipes and beers because the hop utilization, or what is it, the extractions are different at higher levels. Does tea work kind of the same way? Does it get more efficient with your amount of tea, or do you have to scale it up or brew it colder or something like that?
It got a little bit more efficient. But for us, we're just like, oh wait, that tastes better. Okay, it's not beer. So
Okay,
we just leave.
There you go.
We didn't gain the efficiency really. But yeah, no, it scales. It's again surprisingly well. I mean, our tanks go up to the ceiling now, and it does work. So yeah, we've been lucky in that, and I think we had to reformulate a bit on the tea side for time and temperature, depending on what we're talking about. But other than that, it's been relatively straightforward.
I've noticed most of the teas are fairly light compared to like a cup of tea. Was that intentional? Does it just pair better with a little lighter brew?
It's not even necessarily about pairing. It's that both ingredients, because we were going for 0 calories and 3 ingredients, like both ingredients go to bitterness. And so we just had to, that's a lot of the time we spent in my garage was figuring out how to extract the right flavor components in each of them so that it was more on the sweet side as opposed to the bitter side.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you brew them separately, and it sounds like it's a bit of a dry hopping process. So that makes sense. Is it is that a fair way to say it? That pretty much you brew the tea, then you dry hop, basically?
Yeah, I mean, we're pulling flavor. We're trying to pull flavor and aroma, which is mostly dry hopping. If we were to boil a bunch of hops for a long time, you'd end up with 90-minute IPA without any sugar backbone to it. It would not taste very good. So,
have you tried like doing bittering additions? Have you verified with science that it's not good?
I can verify with science that hops without sugar, when they're boiled, do not taste very good.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, how about that?
No bittering additions in
I guess,
Hoplark.
you do kind of, part of the malt sweetness is you're balancing it off the bitterness of the hops. So that makes a lot of sense to me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, if there was none there, you're just getting all the bitterness, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we talked about something on break that I'm curious about. We've talked about your core beverages here. And we know you've got, like I said, Citrobomb that we're getting into right now. Lots of other ones, but you do limited one-offs, all kinds of stuff as well, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we started a limited release program like right after the pandemic hit. One of the things and it was hard for us because we had just launched nationwide with Whole Foods, and we had all these plans to go into much larger distribution last year. And basically all those doors closed for, the extent of the pandemic. It was great that the grocery world continued to exist, and they've been incredible partners. Whole Foods has been amazing. All of our other grocery partners have been really great. But they were more focused on, staple stuff like rice and beans, as opposed to making sure that they get the coolest, newest tea on shelves.
Yeah.
So we we shifted our focus a little bit, and we went like really hard into D2C, direct to consumer, for a while. And we figured that we had all these fans that were on our email list. We're like, well, these guys like hop tea, they'll probably like more hop tea. That's like the extent of our brilliance.
You guys are out of control over there.
Out of control. So we came up with our first one, and it was actually the Citrobomb was the original limited release, and it like I remember we were in a meeting, like a phone Zoom meeting at the time.
The Zoom meeting, sure.
With my crew, and it was like early to mid May of last year, and we're like, holy crap! Like look at how much it's selling, and we had never seen numbers like that before, and so it was a real result with our customers, and now we have a huge number of subscribers to that. So even sight unseen, they're buying what we put out, which is really fun. And yeah, we've had a lot of fun, and we did a butterfly pea tea that turned purple in the fall. That was pretty fun. Probably a highlight. We did what we called the bloody good one, and we got to throw zombies on the can, which was fun, with blood orange.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there's just been a lot of fun innovation. We actually just had because we launched this Hoplark water, hop water. We just had our first one released today, our first limited release hop water with this experimental hop from Crosby. Really innovative name as well, like experimental 008.
Cool.
There are only, a little experimental hops there, huh? All right.
Only 2 acres have ever been produced of this hop, and we're the first brewery on the planet to ever make something with it. And it's
don't let the craft beer guys find out,
ridiculously good.
Yeah,
there's going to be so much rage.
That the tea guy, that the water guy got the hops there.
So much making water.
Right. Yeah.
Something I meant to ask earlier and I forgot. How quickly can you turn around the batch of hop tea? Because I know you don't have fermentation to worry about.
Yeah,
so
it's like brewing beer without the fermentation, more or less. Like it's several days. I'll say it depends on what we're doing at this point. And then we've gotten really good at figuring out how to run a lot of cans through the brewery, because we can we're unlike a brewery where you have to sit on the fermentation. Like we can turn product relatively fast. So we're canning every day at our brewery, which has been it's amazing how much the crew can crank out at this point. So really cool to see.
Keep it coming, man.
Yeah,
now,
seriously.
One thing I noticed, you talked about kind of how fast you can produce it. We've got places here that do special Northeast IPA releases, and there's a taste that I think it's just known as like green hops.
Yes.
Like young hops in there. I noticed that with your hop teas when we got them fresh, that they're right out there. And there definitely is a little change in the profile as they age. What's your preference? Are you a keep cold, drink fresh drinker of hop teas?
I think always. I mean, we've seen probably better. I mean, as you guys know, like if you do a flight of beers over, every day, you're going to see changes in IPAs. We found that we probably have better than beer shelf life for a couple of reasons, but yeah, I mean, I'm a fresh guy, and a lot of that is we keep it cold in distribution as much as we can. The food world allows for that nicely, which is great. So it's showing up really fresh. And then a lot of our online stuff, like our customers are getting it a day or two after we make it, and so it's hitting their door like really, really popping, which is pretty unique in the hop world, let's say, because other than your local brewery. So.
The good fresh stuff. Well, we need to take another break. When we come back, we're going to ask Dean about whiskey in tea. See what we find out. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we'll be back with Hoplark right after this. Yeah, I mucked around on the website a little bit and found something. We'll have to dig in and find out.
I missed that. I'm intrigued now. Cheers from Catalog.
Christopher John, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Christopher John with Bottle Share, a great charity. I think he's done some stuff out your way, Dean. Are you familiar with the charity Bottle Share? So they
No, I'm
support the craft beverage industry, and for people that fall on hard times, they give grants to help out with expenses and that for people who have been impacted that are in the craft beverage industry. So,
Amazing.
Chris, thanks so much for dropping in, man. We appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, he's done some collaborations, I know, out in Colorado way and that. And Stephen Pete, our friend from Kettle Rock Brewing, opening this weekend.
This weekend.
Congratulations, Stephen, on making it to opening day. We plan to come by and see you. We're going to come check out old Kettle Rock there.
Indeed.
Peachtree Corners, Georgia, Brian.
Peachtree Corners.
Yeah.
I think the Citra Bomb is my second favorite. I think it's close to the Sabro hop water. I like a lot. Here's the thing.
Catch up. I'm slow sipping chamomile over here.
That's right.
Dean.
Well, it's got you too relaxed. You're so
calming.
relaxed. See, I have the benefit of it tightening the skull meat up, so I hopped right over to the hops.
There you go.
The hops I wanted anyway. So
there you go.
It worked out
right.
well. I like this one, and I'm curious about this because we've had this a week or two, right? And it doesn't have that green flavor to me anymore.
That's why I was asking that, is because it's mellowed out a little bit. I
might like it a little bit more this way, which is weird because I usually like my IPAs with that
you like
fresh
that taste
green.
there, huh?
Yeah, love that. So I think it's because of the lightness.
We've got a brewery here called Monday Night Brewing, and they have a place they call the Hop Hut that does it's their special one-off unit or whatever. And anytime they release they're some of the best in the state. They're just phenomenal. But I usually get that little green taste in them because they're super fresh when they come out. You know, you have to buy them at the brewery. You're getting them right there. So I put them in the fridge for a couple weeks. That's my prime spot. Give them a couple weeks to, like chili, putting chili in the fridge overnight. It's always better the next day. Spaghetti sauce.
True. But you always have to try it fresh, though.
You do have to try it.
So
you do.
If I'm getting one of those, invariably I'm going to try to have, if I can, depending on how many they release, one of each. And then before I set them in the fridge, and
good stuff.
Because I want that freshness,
Well, Dean, we got about, come on. There we go. I'm back. We got about 10 more minutes, Dean. We're going to go into this last segment here. Is there anything that I haven't mentioned you want us to make sure we talk about?
No, guys, it's all good.
Good. All right, man. Sounds good. We're just talking tea and water and hops. Those are a few of my favorite things. You know what? Do we have anything here about pairing?
Pairings?
Let's throw that in there, man. Let's get crazy with that. Well,
you've already got the whiskey in there. I don't know where that's going, but I may have a follow-up crazy question that
when we come back in, I'm going to talk about pairing, and then I'll go into my teaser on the whiskey, and then you can come in from there. So let's do it. Here we go.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoyed the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to Hoplark.
Hoplark, Dean, thanks again for joining us, man. It's been educational.
Indeed.
And refreshing. So we're having a good time with it.
Effervescent, even.
It has, yes. So a lot of these flavors are lighter, Dean, like we talked about. You said you brew the teas a little bit lighter to kind of get everything to come together here. Have you ever done like a Hoplark and food pairing, or Hoplark and set down a cheese plate or something? What pairs with Hoplark?
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're drinking, but I've had a lot of comments about sushi and the green tea, which is a logical thing just because of the Japanese tradition of green tea, but it's also just that it has that grassy component layered on with the mosaic. That's nice. For me, man, I think food is like, it's funny. I think it does. I personally think it works with just about anything. This is going to be off the wall, but like, I think it pairs amazing with bike rides and going for
with bike rides.
The refreshing component of crushing one of these after I play ultimate frisbee. I go running a lot, and like getting to the sideline and crushing a hop tea is about as enjoyable as it gets for me, to be honest, because it's not water.
It's not water.
Awesome.
See, I asked Dean about pairing with food. He tries to guilt me into exercise.
It's like pairs with physical activity.
Why don't you
we
go ride a
need
bike?
physical activity. What?
I'm trying to get some chicken wings, Dean. You talk about riding a bike. So
I would say Thai food. I'm thinking mild Thai food, not
I
super
love that,
spicy,
I
but
love
mild
that.
Thai
Mhm.
food.
yeah, absolutely. I could see that. When you were talking about the sushi, though, I was thinking the wasabi up front, a little pickled ginger cleanser, and then a sip of the hop tea. I'm all about it, man. And I think I could do that.
It would depend. That Citra Bomb one would probably hold up a little bit better to some of the hotter curries, the spicier ones. But
maybe I'll even ride my bike to the sushi bar.
There you go. Yeah, or jog. Or
everybody wins.
I'm going to crab walk to it and then eat some crab and drink some tea. Yeah.
Dean, one more question out of left field here. You're in Colorado. Yep. Blending your non-alcoholic beverages so you have some freedom with other ingredients you can put in there. Has there been a cannabis hop tea?
Well,
all right.
Officially
I can
or
say
unofficially?
I've played around with non-THC hemp and in our process, and it's really unique. It's just not my passion, so we haven't we've got enough going on right now, but it would probably work pretty well.
Yeah, maybe one day, huh?
Maybe one day.
I don't know if that would pair as well with bicycle rides. I think you would just lay there and look at the bike and not really ride it.
Slow bicycle ride.
Very
slow. Have a good time with it.
Love that.
Well, Dean, we teased a little bit before we went to the last break about whiskey and hop teas, and I saw something on your website. If I read right, it was honey, whiskey, just a whole lot of stuff happened in one of your limited releases, special releases. Can you tell us about that?
So I might have. I don't know if it actually had whiskey.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah,
I do, but I'll say a couple of things. One is the green tea with Bullet is one of the most unique mixed drinks you'll ever have, and it's flipping awesome. So there's some pairings out there that really rock, and we're, like I told you guys before, we're pretty agnostic. We're not trying to, we're just trying to help support folks on their journey. And if folks want to be sober, that's cool. And if they want to drink, that's cool. And so we do a lot of mixing with stuff as well in-house. I have wanted to make a bourbon barrel aged top tea for, how long have I been doing this? So however much time that is, that's how long I wanted to do it. There's some food safety challenges, like where it's a food product, doesn't have alcohol, so it's a little different. So we've been working on it, but that will happen for sure.
Because the one I'm thinking of on your website, it was a cocktail inspired hop tea. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's probably where it's a calm toddy one, which is it's
right.
calm with honey and lemon. It doesn't have the whiskey. You can put the whiskey in it.
I'll put it in there. We can take care of that.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was awesome though. I mean, it was super good. One of our most requested re-released products we've had. So
good stuff.
Some bourbon barrel with a little of that smoked tea. Get those two together.
It would be so good. It'd be so fun.
Yeah.
So
man, I didn't realize till we started talking to Dean the options that were out there that we could do with this. Man, we can have some fun here.
It's pretty expensive. I mean, it's pretty fun. So.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's a fair comparison to make, but which has more range in terms of flavor, hops or tea? And I guess why it might not be fair is because I think hops are all really one variants on one plant, whereas tea might be a bunch of different plants leaves potentially.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but
so there's this company in town you guys have probably heard of called Celestial Seasonings. They're from Boulder, and they coined this term herbal teas. So they were able to turn chamomile into a tea, even though it wasn't. But traditionally, tea is one plant as well.
Oh, okay.
And so where we think of green tea, white tea, black tea, Darjeeling, the pu'er we were talking about, those are all the same plant, the same leaf. White tea is like the end of an early in the year crop of that tea. Black tea is like a little bit more oxidized than the green tea, but it's the same thing. But we're really going into the science of this today, which is great. You guys
good times.
I had no idea.
Yeah,
but I would say, in my experience, if we're just sticking with the tea plant, not herbal teas, I would say hops have more range.
Okay.
Look, especially
Yeah,
when you think
interesting.
about like the European more earthy earth tone hops, and then the bright vibrant hops we associate with IPAs, and then we talked about Sabro earlier. Like there's there's some that have real fruit character and a variety of it. Whereas tea is like different degrees of kind of grassy oxidation, which is delicious. It's that thing. It's single note to a degree for me.
Sure. I mean, and there's really a lot of variety. I think there's a place that used to be at the mall. It maybe still be at the mall. I'm just not going to the mall anymore, but called like Tivana.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so they'd have this wall full of teas there. Even within green teas, they did these one, I think they called it like dragon green, but it came in like it was balled up. So when you brewed it, you blew a little ball. Yeah. And but if you got half a dozen green teas, you could get half a dozen different teas there. I mean, there's going to be
there's a lot of variety.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's just I've been blown away, especially when you take the sugar from the beer and the alcohol from the beer out of it, just how incredible, like what incredible character these hops have in them. They're so vibrant. It's
yeah. And I think that's something that really speaks to it. Like you're saying, it's really one plant. It's just in different phases of the plant or different treatments after it's harvested. But that so you've got a lot of terroir and method really is what brings you the character there, right? That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool stuff.
So I think I probably know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Have you ever tried brewing your hop teas with anything other than water? And I'm saying that because I have in my mind something along the lines of a hopped orange juice as a replacement for a hazy IPA. Now that would not be a 0-calorie beer or a 0-calorie hop beverage,
right?
But it would potentially be delicious. So I'm curious if you've tried something beyond water as kind of the liquid of choice there.
Yeah, we always start with water, but we have made some juice additions later on, kind of like a brewery might if they were making a juiced version of a New England IPA. So we've done blood orange juice. We have a SKU we call Hoplamousse, which is grapefruit and kind of a dig at LaCroix, which we have fun with. There's like we can add juices, not fully because it's a lot of flavor, but I think our Hoplamousse is an eighth the juice, the whole juice from the grapefruit. So I mean, it works incredibly well. It's just kind of a limited thing that we do at this point.
So we're not likely to see a hazy hop tea anytime soon from you.
I never say never, guys.
Yeah,
NEHT?
Not soon, possibly, but possibly in the future at some point.
Yes. A little NEHT there. Well, Dean, it's something we noticed. You have a lot of certifications or standards for your beverages that show they're healthy. You've got gluten-free, non-GMO, and Brian, you said you hadn't even heard of Whole30, right? Yeah, there's a big logo on there that they're looking to get certified Whole30. I've never even heard of that one. So what is that?
Yeah, it's a diet that was created by someone who it's really just like whole foods for 30 days. So imagine like just fruits, vegetables, and meat. Actually, no dairy either for 30 days. And I've done it a couple times. I was basically on a Whole30 when I thought of hop tea, day 25, because I was itching for a beer. But I would say that these and it's cool in our world, in the food world, to be Whole30 because it means it doesn't have any of the additives or the stuff that maybe isn't quite as healthy. So we've really enjoyed that. It's a hard diet for sure, for the record. Like I've done it several times, and you get 2 or 3 days in and you can roll, but those first 2 or 3 days are real tough.
Those people being healthy,
no dairy, and there's a bunch of other things, probably no caffeine and no alcohol.
None of that. Yeah. No. Dean, if people want to find out more about Hoplark, where's the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, I mean, hoplark.com, @DrinkHoplark on Instagram. Those are the kind of the core things. And swing by any Whole Foods in the country and in the tea section or in the cold beverage section and grab one, try it out.
Good stuff. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the time, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Make sure to join us next week as we talk to Oscar Blues Brewery, another Colorado beverage
how
maker
about
out there,
that?
Brian. For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local.